Madam Smith, yeah?
Good morning, everyone. Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Honorable Dr. Roseau, Minister for Youth, Sports, Culture and Constituency Empowerment, Honorable Justina Charles, other members of Cabinet, Mr. Bernardo Marquez, representative of Marquez and Marquez Arquitectos in Puerto Rico, members of the Technical Committee assigned to the National Multi-Sports Complex, the Sports Coordinator, Chairman of the Steering Committee, Mr. Rupert Sorrendo, Chairman of the Dominica, President of the Dominica Olympic Committee, Mr. Billy Doctrove, representatives of the various sporting disciplines, representatives from the media houses, good morning. Welcome to this contract signing ceremony. We appreciate the fact that you have taken the time from your busy schedule to be here with us on this occasion. This morning, the government of Dominica will sign a contract with the architectural firm Marquez and Marquez Arquitectos of Puerto Rico in the amount of US $1,355,160 US, or EC $3,681,834.20 for the design of our new National Multi-Sports Complex. The general scope of works for the architect's engagement will include preparation of conceptual designs, schematic designs, preparation of construction documents, assistance with the construction bidding process, construction supervision, and other professional services. The new sports complex will be designed to meet the standards mandated by the respective international sports federations and associations. It is expected that the design phase will be completed within a period of about 4 months. To give you a bit of background on the firm, Marquez and Marquez Arquitectos has over 50 years of architectural design and construction experience in Puerto Rico. Some of the major projects which they have designed include sports and recreational centers, hospital additions, and commercial and institutional facilities. This firm has extensive experience with local materials and methods of construction, which are most suitable for our tropical climate. Significant factors which are taken into consideration in their designs are the integration of natural cross ventilation, resilience to hurricanes, and ease of maintenance of the facility. You will concur that these factors will all be very relevant in designing our new National Multi-Sports Complex. Once again, I bid you welcome. At this time, I would like to invite our Minister for Youth, Sports, Culture and Constituency Empowerment, Honorable Justina Charles, to give some remarks.
Let me recognize this morning among us Honorable Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Honorable Dr. Roosevelt Skerritt, other cabinet colleagues who are here this morning, Mr. Bernardo Marquez, representative of Marx and Marx Arquitectos, Puerto Rico, members of the Technical Committee assigned to the National Sports Complex, Sports Coordinator, Mr. Trevor Shillingford, Chairman of the Steering Committee, Mr. Rupert Sorrendo, Chairman of the Dominica Olympic Committee, Mr. Billy Doctrove, representatives of the various sporting disciplines, representatives from the media houses, and those listening to us via Kyrie FM and DBS Radio, let me say pleasant good morning to all of you. In our 2014 manifesto, page 46, the Dominica Labour Party made some pronouncements, specifically addressing the young people, sports enthusiasts, and the general public. We promised that during the new term, we would construct an indoor sports facility at Stock Farm with the capacity to host regional and international games, thereby providing an enabling environment for youth engagement and development, positioning Dominica to host regional games. This initiative was taken in response to the increasing calls by sportsmen and women, particularly those from the basketball, netball, and volleyball fraternity. Dominica, being the nature isle that it is, often experiences sudden rainfall, which results in interruption of planned sporting activities, particularly games played on hard courts, intensifying the calls and cries of our sportsmen and women with each passing downpour, triggering disappointments and frustration. In early 2015, the government of Dominica, having listened to the concerns of our sportsmen and women, began the journey of making the construction of this facility a reality. The Minister of Finance, through his diplomatic relationship, was able to secure funds to take us through the design and construction phases. Then came Tropical Storm Erica, which adversely affected the economic landscape of our country. We recall that government was forced to take many decisions in an effort to address the situations precipitated by Tropical Storm Erica, and among these was the decision to put the construction of the indoor facility on hold, as funds had to be diverted to the country's reconstruction efforts. The Honorable Prime Minister, however, gave the assurance that the indoor facility would be back on stream in 2017. Today, June 9th, we are here to fulfill our promise of delivery to our sports persons. Today's signing ceremony will formalize the official commencement of this long-awaited dream. The process was accelerated with the engagement of Max & Max Architectures firm early in 2017. Following a visit of a Dominican delegation to Puerto Rico in February 2017, a mission which gave the delegation a first-hand view of similar facilities designed by the Max & Max Architectures, and a subsequent visit to Dominica by Mr. Mack, the government was satisfied that all was in place to advance the project. Today we are here to sign the contract for the design stage of the project, following which strict timelines will be established and followed for the implementation of this project. The design of the complex will include the indoor facility, which will comprise 3 courts. Also expected to be part of the design are outdoor courts, 2 tennis courts, and a swimming pool. It is worthy to note that the Ministry of Sports, Youth, Culture, and Constituency Empowerment engaged a wide section of stakeholders, which included representatives from each of the court sports who presently serve on the technical committee working group to bring to bear their knowledge of the requirements as per international standards. It is therefore fair to say that with the advent of this indoor facility, Dominica will be positioned to host regional and continental events. This in no doubt will afford us an opportunity to provide our youth with opportunities to improve their games and to raise their standards. The construction of the Windsor Park Stadium brought new light to bear on us as it relates to the important role of the state-of-the-art sports facility can play in developing the tourism potential of our country. This new facility will no doubt enhance our sports tourism potential, hence contributing in tangible ways to our national development. This Labour Party government has spent millions of dollars in the construction and improvement of sports facilities across the island. We can pride ourselves as the administration that have spent the most on the development of playing fields, hard courts, and more recently, the lighting of 5 of our playing fields. This clearly demonstrates government's interest and concern for the well-being of our citizens in creating avenues for socialization, for providing opportunities for our young people to be engaged in positive activities, for identifying and nurturing the talents of our sportsmen, and for providing opportunities for our sportsmen and women to develop to international standards. Having said that, facilities alone cannot provide us too. Their positive attitude by our players, but by pivotal role in getting us thus far. Thanks to Mr. Max, and his team for agreeing to work with us on this venture. Special thanks to our sportsmen and women for your patience and your tolerance. We look forward to a full implementation of this project. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Charles. And the Minister mentioned that there will be both indoor and outdoor courts. And I just wanted to add that the outdoor courts for volleyball, netball, basketball, the tennis courts, and the swimming pool will be open to the public. So the general public in the vicinity of Stock Farm, Roseau, and also the college students will have access to the outdoor courts.
And Vickers as well.
And the entire country, by extension, Prime Minister. And at this point, I'd like to invite the Honorable Prime Minister to give us some remarks.
Thank you very much. Let me first of all recognize in our presence our Minister for Youth, Sports, Culture and Constituency Empowerment, Honorable Justin Charles. My other cabinet colleagues who are here, Mr. Bernardo Marquez from representatives of Marquez and Marquez Architecture, Puerto Rico. The members of the technical committee, in particular, the chairman, Mr. Sorrento, who is also former minister for sports and somebody who has given his entire life to the development of sports in Dominica at all levels. Let me also recognize the sports coordinator and the staff of the Ministry of Sports, the chairman of the Dominica, who I was told I had great influence of having elected. I mean, people blame me for all kinds of things these days, you know. You guys go home and they're lunch and they'll cook, they blame me, you know. They tell the ladies, whole day watching Scarlet on TV. I don't cook my food yet and so on. You know, but the truth is, I had not spoken to the doctor in months, and I haven't seen him in months up until today. And I did not even know who were the members of the Olympic Committee, you know. But I guess, Mr. Wilson had to say what he had to say. And of course, the representatives of various sporting disciplines, representative media, ladies and gentlemen, friends all, those of us listening via live coverage of this very simple and short but far-reaching and significant ceremony. We believe today is a great day for sports, and every citizen of our country should be grateful for that day. When you look at the development of sports in this country, this administration, which I have the the privilege to lead, has been at the forefront of investing in sports development in Dominica. Whether it is through the training of human resources, having people with the practical, professional skills and knowledge to impart sporting techniques and physical education techniques to our population, or the infrastructure, and also the facilitation of public servants to represent our country. When we came into office, that was a difficult thing for people to do. As a matter of fact, Billy Doctor will tell you that many times Gregor had to intervene to ensure that he could get time off to go and represent Dominica as an umpire, because the system did not allow him to do that. And there were many people who were on the national teams, and they were denied time off to represent their country. And we have been able to break down these walls and allow it to become part of the system, where once you're a national team, you automatically will be given time off without any consequences, in particular deductions from your monthly pay. We could speak to a number of infrastructural works we have done. It is under this administration that in the first time of our country's history that we have been able to host international matches. Not only for cricket, but for football. We had the Canada national team fly directly from Canada on a 737 into Douglas Charles Airport to play at the Windsor Park facility. It is we who transformed the Benjamin's Park from a swamp to a facility that is hosting regional games. And in this year's budget, I can tell you some other things happening in this budget. You will see a significant sum of money allocated for the Geneva playing field to upgrade it to a level that can be used for hosting of proper international games. With the level of the playing field and drainage systems and improvement to the washrooms and the players' pavilion. Those funds will be placed in this year's budget for this. We've also signed a contract, and with the contractor has ordered the material, the fixtures for the covering of the Massac basketball court. That was in this year, in the 2016-2017 budget, and we have signed a contract, and we're now waiting for the shipment of these fixtures so that the Massac basketball court can be properly covered with improvements to the washrooms and the amenities and the facilities, so that when we have rain, which is a normal occurrence in Dominica, we can have basketball games. And now we're speaking about the indoor sports facility, which we believe will help motivate and encourage aspiring athletes to take their sports much more seriously than they're currently doing, because we all know that over the last 3 decades, there has been a revolution in people's ability to make a decent living out of sports. That sports is the highest paid profession now in the world. And no matter where you're from, you can make it to the highest level of your sporting discipline. But we recognize as a country that we need to have the facilities at the international level. And this is why we're moving towards the construction of this indoor sports facility, which will cater for basketball, volleyball, netball. We have a swimming pool, we have tennis courts, and we also have some of the courts that will be outside so that we can have for day-to-day playing. And this is going to be a significant investment in our young people and in sports development. And I can say to the country, as the Minister of Finance, I have set this money aside to build this facility. So we're not going to be looking for the money. We have the money to build the facility. And the entire sum, which will come from the Citizenship by Investment program. And when we have elements in our country who collude with external people who do not even know where Dominica is, and who have never been to Dominica, who have no interest in Dominica's well-being, to seek to undermine and to destroy a major source of non-tax revenue for our country. It is something that every single citizen, irrespective of who you are, we need to frown upon. Because this facility will cost us in excess of 40 million EC dollars. Tell me, how many of us would suggest to the government that we should go to the National Bank to get a loan of $40 million to build a sports facility? And in a world where it has become so uncertain, where countries are now being more nationalist in spirit and in practice, which means that access to grants is dwindling. And I'm not criticizing any country for being nationalistic in its spirit, because the government is first elected to take care of its own people. But that's the reality which we are faced with. And then we have people who are bent on seeking to derail it. And you're seeing this happening, where there is a reprinting of articles that were written 6 months ago, 7 months ago, about the CBI. With people who have no children here, who have no investments in Dominica, who have not been to Dominica. And we have people in Dominica are colluding with them, working with them in tandem to destroy this. And as I've said before in many places, I have not met one Dominican, including myself, who would like to pay more taxes. As a matter of fact, I keep saying to the government, you're taxing me too much. But yet we want all kinds of developments in the country. And the source of funds that we can use to help make Dominica a better place, a place that can give our young people, our children, hope for a brighter future. We are prepared, we are working, the elements within the country are working towards destroying this. So I'm saying to the young people that this investment is for you. It is for you. It is what people like Mr. Sorrento and others have been yearning for. And I see Mr. Joseph Thomas in a part of the media corps. And the scores of young people whom I've met in my interactions across the country, who have the raw talent, who are utilizing or less than adequate facilities to improve their abilities. And with the construction of this facility, we know we are very confident that it will take sports and sports development to the next level in Dominica. We have selected the firm from Puerto Rico to assist in the architectural designs of this facility, because as the minister indicated, we visited, a delegation from Dominica visited Puerto Rico, and we've seen the work that they've done, the facilities that they've used. And some of the things which attracted us was the fact that if you're going to build a facility like that, there's going to be a high maintenance cost. And therefore, the design of this facility must bear that in mind. And issues of energy costs, the cost of light bill, or what we call light bill in Dominica, electricity bills. You have to take into consideration. If you're going to be doing this, do you want to have a system, a facility built that you have to run it on AC or use the natural breeze to cool it down? So the type of construction which we will be utilizing would allow for the building to use less electricity to cool itself, and will use less monies to maintain it over a period of time. And there are a number of other reasons why we have utilized them. But what I want to say to the people of Dominica and to the contractors out there, I want you to put your house in order. Because what I would like to see, and what the government has decided we would like to see, is for local people to build it. So while the Puerto Rican firm will be designing it for us, I want for Dominicans to build it. And so you have some months now to put yourself together. And the problem thing is that you don't have to do it only by yourself as a contractor. Why don't you join forces with other contractors with different skill sets and create a consortium of knowledge and expertise and to bid for that particular project? So I would like for Dominicans to prepare ourselves to build it so that we're part of the whole process. So this is the intention. So they will be providing us with management and supervision services and architectural services, but Dominicans will be engaged to build it. It may be a situation where we may break up the various aspects of the work. So we give somebody outdoor tennis courts to build, the person the bigger facility, the main facility, and the swimming pool. The original concept which we had for this indoor sporting facility did not have in it a swimming pool. Did not have it a swimming pool. But in interacting with the sporting fraternity in Dominica and consulting others, we felt that if we're going to build this facility, which might be the only opportunity which we may have, because we've waited for many years to have this, let us do it and do it once and for all. So we have included in this indoor sports facility a swimming pool that will be available to every Dominican who is an aspiring swimmer in the country. So because as it is now, for anybody who would like to learn to swim or who would want to be part of a swimming program would have to do it at a private swimming pool in Dominica. And I feel that is not acceptable. In the second decade of the 21st century, the state, we must have a facility that we must go, a public facility where everybody is welcome and you can make use of the facility. I mean, I would like to play tennis every day, but there are no tennis courts in Dominica to they want to private ones. You know, because I prefer the non-contact sport because, you know, you play like a basketball fellas, they want to bust them out and so on. Or you play hardball cricket, they want to bounce you, ask this market. So I avoid this thing. You know, we play a little cricket at DBS. Chris Matthew taking the boundary from his stance from the boundary, coming out after me for hardball and so I said, but I mean, you guys invite me to a little fat match, and this guy's taking things seriously. So I'm really playing softball, cricket, and so on. But so seriously, you know, this is a major investment, and I am challenging the DOC and the new president to get on board. Because I would not want for government to be managing these facilities. This is not being built for the government, it's being built for the young people and the people of this country. And we would like to engage the DOC to see whether it will be interested in managing this facility on behalf of the people of Dominica. You understand? So that there is proper maintenance of it, regular maintenance of this building. Because the problem we have in Dominica, that when we build something, unless it doesn't fall down on its face, we're not maintaining it. We're not fixing it. And we have to move away from this. We have to move away from this. So we will challenge the DOC as the umbrella organization to see whether they'll be prepared to manage the facility on behalf of the people of Dominica. The cabinet has also taken a decision to acquire some lands in Warner belonging to the Dominica Social Security. And the intention of this acquisition is to build the synthetic track for athletics. So that's another project that we will take on, but we cannot take on both of them at the same time. But in the meantime, we will be seeking to have designs done and costings done. So if we get the monies at a particular time, we'll be in a position to move ahead with the construction of the synthetic track up at Warner for the athletes in Dominica. So there are a number of levels that we're seeking to do to improve the facilities of sports and to take sports and sports development to the next level. I want to thank the Minister for her leadership in this, the ministerial leadership for this. She herself went to Puerto Rico to visit the facility, to have practical understanding of it. I also want to thank the Permanent Secretary for her administrative leadership in this. I want to thank also publicly Ms. Aflin Nesty of the Attorney General's office, who was very instrumental in reviewing the legal contract and And I read some of the comments, and they were very, very profound and very helpful in getting us to have a contract that can stand the test of scrutiny. Also, Mr. Sorrento and the members of the committee, because what we have done is that we have brought in people from the various disciplines to be part of a committee that will oversee every aspect of the development of this indoor sports facility. And Mr. Sorrento was part of the delegation to Puerto Rico to visit the various facilities and to provide some guidance on this. And I also want to thank the sports coordinator for his efforts and his leadership, the Ministry of Finance and the staff, the Finance Secretary, for facilitating the contract so we can have the contract signed here today. So I'm very excited with this. It's a project that we're very committed to. We look forward to a timely delivery of the architectural designs, and I would ask the gentleman here, Mr. Bernardo, if they could work night and day to have it to us so that we can. And the idea is that once we get to a point where we have the designs, we will have a public engagement of athletes and administrators of sports and sporting organizations. So you too can also at that level give your comments and feedback on the designs, and where you think it can be improved, what can be done, and so forth. So that I want it to be a participatory process, that everybody, every stakeholder, everybody who has an interest in this will have an opportunity to view it and to be part of the process of making suggestions and recommendations. Because over time, we've gotten text messages from people what it should include, what it should not include, suggestions. So we've taken all of those suggestions on board, and ensuring that they're reflected in the designs and the design brief which we have provided to the architectural firm. So today is a great day. I'm very excited for this day for the young people of Dominica, and my hope and prayer, because you see sometimes I go to villages and communities, and people tell me, Scarrett, we want the playing field, we want to fix the playing field, we want lights. And then I go back and we make the funds available to improve these playing fields and to put lights or to build the basketball courts. And then I go back there after it has been constructed and we've been using it for some months. And, the basketball courts are littered with plastics and styrofoam cups and bottles. The playing fields are overgrown with grass. The people were not maintaining it. The light fixtures are broken. They are vandalized. So I would like for us in this country to treat these investments as if individually we went to the bank and took a loan to build it. That's how we have to treat it, because it is ours. And when we destroy it, we are holding back sports development, because we have to go back to the repairs to a facility instead of moving forward to build a new one for another community. So we have to make use of it. If we spend all this money putting lights in the playing field, we have to make use of it. Make use of it. If we do not make use of it, then it will be an investment that's wasted. And then when we have it, then we ask for something else. We keep shifting the goalposts. We ask for something, we get it, and we forget about what we asked for, we ask for something else. But today we are talking about the indoor sports facility. I'm very excited for this day. And the government is fully committed to it. And I said to you that we're not going to be raising the money. As the minister indicated, we had identified a source of funds of $5 million, though it would not have been enough then. But to show you that our seriousness to this, we had identified this funds from the government of Mexico. Because Erica came about, we had to divert the funds to the resettlement of the people of Pidisivan and environment. But we felt in the government and within the Labour Party that this sporting facility is too important to youth development and sports development for us to continue to defer it. And so we have taken a deliberate decision to bring this back to the fore of priority, so that we can, very soon from now, benefit from it. We can host international regional tournaments here in Dominica. and not always have to go out to play our home games. We could play our home games here and host tournaments in Dominica. But $40+ million, many of us could speak to 1,000 things we could do in Dominica with that money. You know? So I do hope that people appreciate the extra efforts that we put into this. We may sometimes make this thing look very simple, but running this country is not a simple task. It's a very difficult task because things are very costly to be done in this country because of our terrain, you know, and almost every material we need, we have to import it. So we have imported inflation and so forth. And these things are not very simple to do. But I said we're committed to this. It's going to cost a huge sum of money. We have 1,000+ things we could do this money, but youth development is important to us. Sports development is critical to us, and we're committed to this. And I'm saying to all the associations, all the sporting organizations, we need to all work together. We need to improve the management of these associations. You know, people take out of context my concern. But I should not only be hearing from you when you want money to go overseas. You know, I want to hear from you telling me that, look, we're organizing some training programs for some youths in Dubla. I want to hear that you have an activity at Lio Park and a league that will be running for 6 months and you need sponsorship. You know, we have to have more activities, and we cannot rely solely on the sports division to put those activities together. You know, because at the end of the day, it's your associations which select the national team. And some of you don't consult the sports coordinator in selecting the national team. He hears it just like everybody else on the radio. But all of the programs are run by him, and his office, and his ministry. So we have to engage each other. We may have different views, but recognizing that this is our country. And the more we work together, the more we can do for our people. And all of us would like to see a more prosperous and just Dominica. But the question is, what are you prepared to do towards it? And I will reiterate it to the new executive that the DOC should not only see itself as going to Olympic Games. It has to see itself as an umbrella organization charged with the responsibility of developing sports and developing sportsmen and sportswomen and sports children. And I don't see why people want to take these comments out of context, because there has been a complaint by everybody about this. So I'm hoping that we can have a new dispensation, a new attitude towards this, and to say that the government's doors have always been open, and it is open still to engaging yourselves as to what you can do, what we need to do to develop sports in Dominica. Because we do not have all of the answers within the government, we do not have all the resources within the government, but if we can consolidate our resources, and we can do it. So if you're the president of the Handball Association, you have to have handball tournaments in Dominica. It cannot be purely theoretical. Where the handball tournaments we have in Dominica, so that you know, we can get the young people to be part of the tournament and the training. So those going to set up all of the sporting organization, and then there's nothing tangible on the ground to say. So I want to know how many handball people we have playing. How many people are playing handball in Dominica? You know, where the groups, where the organizations on the ground. So if people want to question and say, well, what my involvement in this and that, talk will bring talk. You know, but I'm happy to be here. Joseph Thomas is putting on, he's part of the handball tournament and so forth. But I really want to commend you and thank you, Mr. Bernardo from Marquez and PS and Minister and all the people in the Ministry of Sports and the Sports Division. Let us forge ahead. There's a full commitment by the government, and commitment to the resources. Land has been identified. We will move very soon to clear the land of the old structures that are there, so that we move apace. And what's going to be done, I have said to the Minister of Sports that we will appoint somebody to specifically oversee this project, you know, on a day-to-day basis to ensure that we get the best of the facility. Thank you, and may God bless us.
Thank you very much, Honorable Prime Minister. At this time, we will have the signing of the contracts by myself and Mr. Bernardo Marquez.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everyone, for coming. And we hope that you have a wonderful day today. Thank you very much, Mr. Marquez. Thank you very much, Honorable Prime Minister, for making time to be with us this morning. Thank you very much, Minister for Youth, Sports, Culture and Constituency Empowerment, Honorable Justina Charles, and the other ministers who made the time to be with us today. Thank you very much, the media, the members of the steering committee, members of the technical committee, sports coordinator, and other visitors and friends who came to support this morning. Thank you very much.
I just want to say one thing to the media there. You know, when the media, and you know, I have the greatest regard for journalism and so forth, but journalism, as I understand it, in reading, you know, the charter, it must be based on research and facts, and leave it to the readers or the audience to form an opinion. I saw the front page of the Sun newspaper, for example, which says that the government owes the OECS Supreme Court over $8 million. This is not a fact. This is false. The government owed the Supreme Court about $7 or so million. We've paid them a significant sum, and the current amount we owe the Supreme Court is $4.4 million. And that $4.4 million will be placed in this year's budget to pay them off before the end of 2017. So we do not owe the courts over $8 million as reported by the Sun newspaper. We owe them back then. As a matter of fact, about 5 weeks ago, we paid them $2 million. Now, Dominica is a member of many regional international organizations, and the annual commitment to this organization is in excess of $17 or so million. And there are times you just cannot afford to pay everybody. And like every country in the world, you will owe institutions. You heard President Donald Trump say to his European counterparts to pay up the amounts to NATO. Every country will fall short from time to time of meeting its commitments. But the reality is there are times that the government has to determine whether it pays an international regional organization or pay salaries or fix a road to a community or to buy medication for people suffering from cancer who have to pay these huge sums for cancer. I mean, now we go into the budget and we're placing $5 million more on top of the last year's amount for medication, because the number of people suffering from cancer in this country who require medication and who have to pay for it. And the government is taking a deliberate decision now to provide, to let this be on the list of free medication to patients in Dominica. And among other things. Because we understand that there are people with cancer who have challenges and various ailments. And this medication, you have to buy it every week and every month. And because of the short shelf life it has, this is not medication you can buy and have it for 6 months. It's medication that you buy and use within weeks, and so forth. So this report by the article written by Johnson John Rose for the Sun is totally a complete lie. And I'm hoping that as in the true spirit of the charter of journalism, that on the front page of the Sun newspaper on Monday, I will see a correction and an apology to the people of Dominica. Because I just find that in this country, we go and we're in the gutters and we're in the garbage bin looking for negative stories about Dominica. And unless we can find one, we don't want to print on newspaper, or we don't want to go for newscasts. You know, and you go to other countries, the very countries where these people reside, there's an understanding among the journalists and the government and the state that, look, let us avoid salacious and negative stories on the front page and the back page. I don't want to call countries there because we all know the countries, for example. You go to these countries and you will feel that there's no crime. Because never will you see the reporting of any crimes on the front page or the second page or the back page or the headline news. You understand? You won't see this. And I think there has to be a greater sense of nationalist spirit in us. Commitment to our country. Commitment to defend our country. You know, if there's something that has to be said, it has to be said. But we can't always want to be so salacious and so scandalous and so rumor mongering. You know, it's becoming the order of the day. I have no problem with people criticizing the government, but criticize the government from a standpoint of fact. You know, I have done my research. These are the points I've come up to. So I don't want to say this thing to you, you know, as an aside, but it's a very serious point. And these things have the ability to undermine our country, because bad news travels around the world 5 times before positive news can put on its clothes. You know, and at the end of the day, when we give people out there the impression that our country is not a safe place to come and visit and so forth, who you think is going to be affected? People believe there's some people in this country believe the only person who's going to be affected is Roseau Scary. Yes, I'm the Prime Minister today, and at some point I will move on. But we'll always have a country called Dominica to build. And when you inherit it, how would you want to inherit it? At what level would you want to inherit it? And if the country goes bad, who's going to suffer? All of us. When the roads are bad, you think I have a helicopter to fly to my home in Vegas? I drive on the roads, the same roads like everybody else. You know? So we have to really address this situation in our country. Otherwise, you know, we're going to by our actions and our utterances, destroy the country. And there's too much appetite and culture in this country. And unfortunately, we pass it on to succeeding generations to speak ill of our country. You know, you can speak ill of me, that's fine, but don't speak ill of our country. You know, because at the end of the day, you're gonna have to deal with the consequences. And in a time when the world, I say to people, in my years in parliament and in government, this is the most uncertain I have seen the world. Every country now, most countries now are individualistic, you know. Everybody is looking for himself. There are very few countries out there who will be prepared to assist other countries. Very few. A handful. And for some, it is because of the economic situation, they can't allow it. For some, it is the political ideology that persists, you know. It's just a change in the world order. It is worse than when we had the Cold War. You know, it's more uncertain now. You know, and therefore we have to work together as a country. Where there's criticism, let us criticize, but criticize with the intent to make things better, not to destroy. And if the criticism is not to make things better, then it is to destroy. And where do we want to stand on the fence? You know, where will our conscience be? You know, we say we're Christians, but we forget that one day, you know, there'll be a judgment, and everything we do will come before us. You know, people think that they're trying to destroy me, but no, you're destroying the country. I am just one person in Dominica. We have 72,000 people. Thank you very much, media, for being there in large numbers.
Before you leave,
yes.
The media has asked me to ask you to say something brief. Say something brief from the UK elections. That's what the media wants me to ask you.
The UK elections. I try not to comment on people's elections, you know. No, the people have spoken. I have recognized that Prime Minister May has gone to Her Majesty the Queen to seek her authority to form a new government. My understanding is that there is a minority party that has been in alliance with, based on what Prime Minister May said, in alliance with the Conservatives. So it's a matter for the British people to decide how they go about handling this matter. Once the new government is in place, then we will congratulate who is the Prime Minister, who is the government. As it is now, it has not been so determined. Because, as you know, in coalition, anything can happen. You know, unless the Queen says I appoint you as Prime Minister, then we do not know. But that's the people have decided, and we have to respect the democratic decision of the British people. But the United Kingdom will continue, notwithstanding who is in government, will continue to be a very strong ally of Dominica. And they have been for a very long time. We have excellent relations with them. They're exceptionally helpful in regard to our national security. The British are at the forefront of this. In the last several years, they've really helped Dominica tangibly and on this. And as you know, they have committed between 25 to 30 million pounds for the reconstruction of the roadway from Loubert down to Pichelin all the way to Bacatel. And a contract has been signed for the feasibility study to determine the extent of the work. And moving from that, we will move towards the design and the tendering of that project. But at least there is a firm commitment for some 25 to 30 million pounds. The fact is, notwithstanding which government will come into office, that will not be effective because there are understandings and agreements already on that. But and at the European Union, they were very helpful, as you know, because of our traditional relationship. They were a bridge between us and the European Union. And very, very helpful, very, very helpful. So we have excellent relations with this, and I can only wish the British people well. Okay, that's any other question? You want to ask me about Russia? I find it strange. I'm sorry for detaining you guys. I find it strange that the opposition is criticizing my trip to Russia. These guys forget that the Russian ambassador came to Dominica last year, 2016, to celebrate 20th anniversary of diplomatic relations with Dominica and Russia. And all of you European guys were there. Lennox Clinton was there. Joseph Isaac was there. They were there shouting, "Hey, hail to Putin," and so forth. And then I go to Russia, and the same people are criticizing me. They were there telling the ambassador how great President Putin is. Last year, 2016.
By the way, did you represent,
did you
represent CARICOM or you represented Dominica?
I represent Dominica, but when I go to these countries, as people will know, I always seek to represent the Caribbean community and to advance the interests of the Caribbean community. Because I am a regionalist, I am an integrationist. I believe in integration. I believe in helping each other. I believe in ensuring that it is a benefit for Dominica, there should be a benefit for the rest of the community. So wherever I can speak on behalf of the Caribbean community, I speak on behalf of the Caribbean community in advancing the interests of the whole of CARICOM. But we believe that Russia is an important country in the world. Russia is a permanent member on the UN Security Council. And we have had relations with Russia for the last 20 years. I was invited to speak at the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum as one of the panelists on a topic dealing with Russia, Caribbean, Latin America cooperation, collaboration, and investment. And the occasion to meet with the foreign minister to discuss our bilateral relations. And those discussions went very well. And I'm hoping that in the near future that we can work on a number of very important bilateral projects and programs. But also dealing with issues of world peace, because we really have to bring to an end all of these wars and civil wars across the world. Is having a serious impact on the way of life of everybody in the world. Because if the world's attention is directed to the Middle East and the crises which exist there and so forth, and then we're going to move away from the issues of poverty reduction. We're going to move away from development assistance. We're going to move away from bilateral relations and seeking to see how we can use those resources to the well-being of people rather than bombs and bullets. And I believe that as small as we are as a country, though we do not have the means, but at least we can be part of the process of finding peace and working towards peace and tranquility in the world. We're part of the world community, and we have a responsibility and obligation, and we should not believe that we do not have a part to play in this. I mean, we made tremendous strides as a country, and we have to assert ourselves in the architecture. No more questions on that? No more questions on that.
Yeah, but I just have a suggestion, not a question. Mention was made earlier on of plans really to have the synthetic track really the one. From an international perspective, I would like to suggest that you not only do a synthetic track, but you also include a football, international football field. So you can make this now your national stadium, which will include football and track and field, rather than just, bring it to
is it? I mean, is it Jim Reeves who had a song, "One Day at a Time, Sweet Jesus"? One day at a time, one day at a time. But I think the point is, I think that I believe that there has to be greater collaboration between the state, the country, and the sporting organizations and so forth. We have to work together. You see, while there ought not to be political interference in those organizations, but it does not mean that there should not be collaboration between the state and those organizations. So there has to be collaboration and cooperation on the development of sports. And where the DOC and others may have access to resources that they can bring to the table, and they can put with what the people of Dominica have, then we can go a longer period, rather than they trying to do their little thing and they can't get too far with it, and the government is trying to do something and so forth. If we work together, we can see a tremendous transformation of sports in Dominica. Tremendous transformation of sports. We have to set aside the egos and the arrogance and stuff, and recognize that our mandate is to develop sports. And whoever and whatever we need to do to get it done, let's do it. And that's our firm commitment to the government. We have no interest in this except to develop sports and to develop the youth in our country. That's my only interest. I don't want to be part of any being the leader of a political party is not for me. You see what I'm saying? I have enough challenges being the leader of a party if I were to go and look for a sporting organization. But our commitment is to provide the resources. I said we're not even interested in managing these things. I'm interested in the government having a key to this place. We give it to the DOC to manage if they want to, under certain conditions, and so forth. We fear that. My mandate is to get the money, build it, let the people of Dominica take care of it. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Good weekend.